Okay, we're back here on the IoT Show, live from IoT Stars. Here is Alexis from Edge Impulse, and we'll talk about AI at the edge, among other things, right?
Yeah.
Alexis, how are you?
All right. Good.
Good. Thanks for coming today. So,
Glad to
who
be
are
here.
you? What are you doing?
So my name's Alexis. Previous role, I was a CTO at Sigfox Unibiz, and I joined Edge Impulse as a chief product officer about 6 months ago.
Okay. What's your focus on a day-to-day basis?
So nowadays, like there's, I'd say two things. So Edge Impulse was acquired by Qualcomm about a year ago. So the integration is still going on. What's really interesting is that Qualcomm really has this new developer-first strategy. And so they really kept us independent from the traditional organization. But what we get to do is we get to leverage Qualcomm resources, right? We get to work with the latest technologies, the latest chipsets. It's an announcement from Arduino, for example.
Yes.
And so that's really exciting because we keep our DNA while getting access to this amazing ecosystem from, Qualcomm. Right?
Yes.
It's a massive company. It's got a history. It's got
I
engineering.
just joined too,
Right.
right? So,
When you put
but
it,
I'm
yeah.
with you. It's like
Yeah.
very impressive. Lots of things I didn't know about, right? And the way
Same
they're
here.
approaching developer relations and experience in a new way.
Mm.
Edge Impulse, Arduino, Foundries. We'll talk about Foundries just after that. It's pretty exciting. How do you go from focusing and enabling connectivity, low bandwidth, low energy, Sigfox? How do you go into Edge AI or Tiny ML at the beginning, but Edge AI with Edge Impulse? Like the transition, is it natural for you? Is it something that you think makes sense to go in that direction?
Yeah, it's interesting. So it's more of a personal thing, obviously, in a career. But I was lucky enough to build the first cloud environment for Vodafone 10 years ago. And in between, I actually had my own startup where I was actually building all these things already. Like Brain, you may have heard about it, an Italian startup who did energy efficiency. So as a CTO there, I had the chance to work on machine learning in the cloud and then work on IoT, Sigfox sensors, control devices for buildings, doing energy management, doing energy efficiency.
Okay.
And what's been really interesting in the last couple of years, even though I went to the extreme, right, with Sigfox, really low power, really low bandwidth, I started to see that everything we did in the cloud before, the ML, the sort of advances in AI, we started to gradually come into devices as the chipsets were getting more powerful. We started to see NPU. I think a good example was Google Coral. It was a really first interesting device, right?
Yes.
Where you plug in
Tiny ML chips.
Yes. And so you had your Raspberry Pi, you plug in the Coral, you're like, okay, I got acceleration here. It's still like power hungry, but no, something's happening. And so throughout the years, like personally, I kept in touch with that part of the ecosystem. And so Edge Impulse, like growing through there, starting with TinyML, then in getting closer and closer to basically the work that we were doing around connectivity, right? And I'd say last year, it's been really interesting because this is all converging. It's all coming together.
Yeah.
And, you can have an Edge AI device that is low power, that is going to use a LoRaWAN, a Sigfox, an LTM, but I will have like all these models running on device.
Yeah.
So that's how I came to Edge Impulse. And
I'm tempted. With your perspective, your experience and background, what can go wrong? Because we're seeing companies consolidating. We're seeing more and more parts of an IoT from device to cloud being less granular and it being integrated by customers. But we're going super fast and bringing AI to the edge is happening in a matter of months, maybe, but months. What can go wrong? Where's the wall, and what is it that we're gonna?
It's interesting, right? Because I think especially last couple of months, if you go to the broader AI ecosystem with OpenClaw, Notebook, right? It's like there's an acceleration there. You start to see people plugging in, like testing out different things. And I think what could go wrong is something that's gone wrong many times with IoT is where persons who are really excited about that technology may not understand all the consequences in terms of security, right? All these cameras that were hacked at the beginning, right? Like really quickly implemented IP cameras. And then next thing you know is like 100,000 cameras have been hacked. I think that this is what we need to be careful about. And something actually at Edge Impulse where we have an applied research team. It's actually looking at that and being very careful on basically how do you do responsible AI and how can we guide users and developers in doing that responsible AI. We actually have a book on that, so that's why I feel
no, that's
we can
interesting.
talk about
That's
it.
interesting.
I'd say that that's the main risk I see today.
Yeah.
Like any new technology, there's a lot of interest, a lot of engagement, but that brings about perhaps like the too fast of an adoption from that perspective.
Yes.
So I love the community, the developers to bring in their own knowledge
Yes.
and also bring that experience to the edge AI and to everything else we're building today.
I was about to ask you, what do you think is the role of the developer, the traditional embedded developer? And we're seeing now people more versed into AI and machine learning and so on.
Yeah.
What is their role in that future that we're seeing being shaped today?
I think we start with one main challenge here, which is a good one, is we start to have a community of developers that's very different from what we were used to, right? In the IoT space, it came a lot from the embedded developers. That was much more microcontrollers, modules, like it was kind of a knowledge that was common across the board.
Yep.
But with Edge AI, we start to see machine learning, data scientists coming to the devices, right? Coming to the hardware.
Yes.
And so I think like anything, I'd love to see the community sharing knowledge and bringing in the different experiences and collaborating, which, we see that around Arduino, we see that around Edge Impulse, and doing more of that. I think it's one of the great ways to share knowledge and address these issues before they even appear, because that shared knowledge is more powerful than
maybe avoid the wall.
Yeah.
And I have a last one for you.
Sure.
Like looking ahead, we are seeing and talking, about AI as models, simple models being optimized to run at the edge. But the trend in the cloud these days is even beyond LLMs, VLMs, is agentic AI.
Yes.
The ability for models to be used within a loop that is about sensing, like thinking or planning, and then acting. And acting is critical. It's something that's in embedded. We've always said that embedded is about sensing and acting. So agentic AI, how do you see it coming into the embedded / IoT world? And what kind of importance do you think it will take?
I think what we're seeing that's matured recently is what we call VLM, Vision Language Models, right? So it's not quite yet acting, but I think it's a really good step towards where we're going to go.
Yeah.
So a VLM today is you will have a vision model that can run on a really tiny device.
Yeah.
It will detect an object, but it probably doesn't know what the object is. And so it's going to cascade into a small language model that runs on device. So, the new Arduino products run that today. It's pretty awesome. And that language model will interact with the vision model and tell you, oh, this is a person wearing, a purple shirt, or he works for Edge Impulse. He has a logo there.
Yes.
Hopefully the SLM knows that. And then we'll give you that regional context.
Yeah.
Where we see the market moving, and that's very interesting, we see the market moving towards VLA. Vision, language, action model.
Yeah.
And it's not just one model. That's where it gets really interesting. It's a couple of models that start to work together. And what's great with that is you can actually train these models or select these models in a way that's highly tested and highly understood.
Yep.
And that's going to give you that safety in the final action, right?
Okay.
So basically robotics are a clear use case these days.
Yep.
And so we're seeing this combination of models that are bringing to life basically things that even 2 years ago we couldn't achieve.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Oh,
I'm
likewise.
excited.
Yeah.
We're building physical AI. At Qualcomm, now we have lots of the stats.
Yeah.
That's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's good, huh?
Alexis, merci beaucoup.
Merci.
Bonne soirée, à bientôt.
Merci.
Thanks, guys, for tuning. Stay here because we have a couple more guests. We'll talk about foundries, and we'll certainly talk about Arduino as well. So stay around. Thank you.